Yes, I know. Don't freak out, but I have an explanation, and I'm going to tell you right after the build up to that explanation, which is the day. Let's get started. So, when I woke up this morning, it was around, say, 10 o'clock, 10:30 in the or early morning. And when I got up, I was greeted by my mom and my sister. My mom said that she wanted to do a few things to get the house in working order, specifically working in the backyard to power wash a alleyway on the side of our house, as well as hold on one second. Yeah, okay, cool. As well as just moving things around, mowing the yard with the new gas powered lawnmower, uh, and throwing away a bunch of garbage. But before I did all of that, I decided to start my morning with yogurt that my sister made for. She was originally just making it for mom and her, but then she asked if I want some. I said yes, so she made some for me too. So I was really happy about that. It was super good. It was like yogurt with berries and granola and honey, and it was absolutely delicious. I really liked it. Um, yeah, after eating that, that's when we discussed those plans of what we were going to do for the day. But then I decided before getting started, I would go on a little pre work buffer where I made a cup of coffee. I got a cookie and I went into my room and watched on my old CRT television um, two Digital Foundry videos. One was about the video game Kingdom Come Deliverance, a new port that was recently released on the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series consoles. Um, basically, hold on one second. That camera looks like it's at an angle. Okay, that's better. Basically, they run at 60 frames per second and have a lot of the settings that were on the original PC release back in the day, bringing them more in line with a more graphically exuberant title. So that's pretty cool. Kingdom Come Deliverance is definitely one of the standout visual gems of the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One generation. So the fact that they cranked up the frame rate and the resolution and made the visuals look more, you know, sophisticated with better lighting and sfogy and all that was really neat to see. I still haven't touched Kingdom Come Deliverance, and I know they made a sequel recently. I know a lot of people like those games because they're really like historically accurate and they just have a great like vibe and feel about them in terms of just putting you in that era of like medieval knights and swords and things like that, serfs and all that good stuff. So I don't know, maybe one day if I ever get curious, I'll try out, see if I like it. Till then, I'll just admire it from afar. But anywho, after watching that, I was still not done with my coffee and my four-leaf clover cookie, so I decided to watch one more video where it was basically John Lennerman from Digital Foundry talking about Resident Evil Requiem and its visual quality on all the different platforms. I found this video very interesting because it showcased the new PlayStation upscaler in action. PSSR 2 is the fan name for it. There isn't really an official name for it yet, but it is definitely much improved from the original PSSR. There's no more film grain noise. It looks like a much more stable image. The final output resolution looks near native 4K, and it allows the system to allocate its other resources from needing to render higher resolutions to instead rendering more convincing or more spectacular ray tracing effects. So it's pretty much fulfilling the promise Sony originally had with PlayStation 5 Pro when they launched it, which was games were going to have better ray tracing, they were going to look better thanks to a new spatial upscaler, and they hopefully be the best place to play. That wasn't the case for the first year and a half of PS5 Pro. It was really a grab bag. Some games would fulfill the promise and look like genuine upgrades. Games like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and what else? Demon Souls and things like that. But then you had really bad examples like Silent Hill F and another one I'm forgetting the name of right now. But oh yeah, Jedi Fallen Order. So, you know, it wasn't a consistent platform that gave you a good result every time. So that was pretty bad. Making sure that my phone's not dead. So hold on 1 second. Okay, cool. Anywho, moving along. So now with this new new upgraded version of PSSR2, it finally fulfills the promise that PlayStation 5 Pro originally set out, which is to be the best home console for ray tracing and image quality. And so it's pretty awesome to see. I'm digging it. But that still doesn't make me interested in buying a PS5 Pro. I have an original PS5 launch model, and I honestly would rather just wait for a legitimate upgrade to PS6. I just think the idea of like buying like an upgraded version of a device every other year is just kind of, I don't know, financially irresponsible and, you know, silly. When a new generation comes, I want it to feel like a true new generation, you know, but that's just me. All right. Oh my goodness. My mirror that helps me see if they're still recording, it keeps on doing its thing. Okay, moving along. So that was around the end. So after I paused the video and finished my coffee and my cookie, I went out, I grabbed some gloves, and I immediately helped my mom with all manner of different household duties. And it was a variety of duties. It went from lifting heavy material with her to move it to other areas that would be out of the way so we could properly clean the areas with power wash, to setting up the power wash and spraying those areas down. Then I made a turkey sandwich with pepper jack cheddar cheese, sourdough bread, pickled jalapenos, chili pepper, cayenne pepper, mayonnaise, mustard. Did I say that already? Sorry if I did. And yeah, it was. Oh yeah, and then for sides, 5 strawberries for me and her, and I got us Dr. Pepper Zeros that we had in the back fridge, and we had that, and my mom said she really enjoyed it. We had a nice conversation. After that, we continued to do some work, from vacuuming an outdoor carpet to washing off the paint off the side of the house to mowing the backyard lawn and the front yard lawn with the new gas-powered lawnmower, which was really nice. And then after all that, I decided to take a shower. So I took a shower. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. Before I did all of this work, I actually put my laundry in to wash in the extreme mode on the LG double stack washer, or heavy duty mode, I mean. And of course, in the midst, I switched all the clothes to dry mode. And then when I was done with my shower, I, put on deodorant, moisture cream. I went to the clothes that was done drying. I picked out what I wanted, which is what I'm wearing right now, and then got dressed. My middle sister was here. I greeted her. We were having like a lot of different conversations about how things are going. About worries about potential future of America and the economic uncertainty and things like that. It's pretty interesting. And then we talked about Bernie Sanders talking with Claude. That was funny. And also scary too. What are we in a Black Mirror episode? I feel like every sci-fi dystopian novel is becoming a reality. It's crazy. But anyways, yeah. So then I let my middle sister know because she arrived to enjoy our company, and also we were going to watch One Piece together. That I would be setting up the projector screen. So she was like, "All right." She went off with my younger sister to pick up some Chinese food for all of us because we were in the mood for Chinese food. I set up the projector. I actually started setting up before they left, and my youngest sister did help me, but she did notice that the projector smelled a little weird, and there seemed to be a little bit of a mold growing on, like tiny patch on one of the corners of the screen. I think this had mostly to do with the fact that the projector has these like bladder things you fill with water that are supposed to weigh down the projector, so it doesn't like tip over and all, give it stability. The problem is it doesn't really work. And then when I put it away, I imagine the condensation, even though I do my best to squeeze as much water out of those bladders as I can, I probably don't get all of it. And then some of it like turns into steam or condensation that somehow gets into the projector screen, even though it's wrapped with plastic. So I guess it just is able to do that. And then it causes the screen to get that unwanted effect. I looked up to see if you could put it in the washer, and apparently you cannot because it would mess with the reflective coating, and also the screen is stretchable in a way that if it was put in a washing machine would destroy its ability to stretch, or would warp it in a way where it'd be unusable. So yeah, I mean, it's not too big of a deal. It's just a tiny spot, and once you set everything up, it's like you don't even notice it. But it's certainly something to keep in mind next time. And also, we gotta find a way to get rid of that spot, like maybe spray it or wipe it or something. Like, I'm sure there's a way to figure it out. Eventually, after I set up the screen and got help by my mom by like moving the screen up forward until like the whole image was being shown on the projector, using our projector we got at the end of last year, and we're able to get a good image quality. My younger and middle sister arrived with the Chinese food. We had beef and broccoli. We had chicken chow mein, chow mein and spicy chicken, and walnut shrimp. I gotta be honest. I mean, it was fine, but I don't know. I feel like I've had better Chinese food. I mean, of course, you want to be grateful and, be happy with what you have. You don't want to be, a jerk. But I am being honest about my experience, and that's that. I found the food was good. It pretty much tasted very similar to a lot of Chinese restaurants out there, but the coconut, or not the coconut, the walnut honey shrimp definitely did have a weird texture when it came to like they put these crunchies at the bottom that tasted stale. I'm not exactly sure what was up with that. Why are you selling stale crunchies in your food that people are paying exorbitant amounts of money for? Honestly, total baloney. I mean, it ended up being $18 per person for what we got, and most of it was still good. And I would say like most of it was decent, but overall, like if there's one bad apple, it definitely spoils the whole experience in a way where you're like, I don't want to go there again. And apparently, yeah, that was a shame. I mean, it was only one thing. Everything else was decent enough. Although I will say that the broccoli, normally when I eat beef and broccoli at a Chinese restaurant, the broccoli is really like tender and moist. And here the broccoli didn't taste like it was properly fully steamed enough. It felt like there was still a bit too much of a bite to it, if that makes sense. Instead of being tender and fall apart in your mouth and all that. So that was kind of a shame, but everything else was okay enough. Um, Although the egg rolls, I like my egg rolls to have a nice crisp at the outer end and a nice warm, steamy, tender middle. But these ones were kind of just what do you call that? Like they weren't quite crunchy and they weren't quite soft. They were in the awkward in between. That was kind of, I don't know, not exactly what you'd want. Overall, I think next time if we choose a restaurant, we should choose one that is a bit more established with giving quality products or products. What am I, the McDonald's CEO? Food options. So yeah, it was still good. I still enjoyed it, but I feel like could have been better personally. But yeah, we watched a episode of One Piece, 2 episodes of One Piece actually. The first episode was a one-off story about a guy who gets stuck inside of a treasure chest box, and he's on this island with a bunch of his animal friends, and he notices these treasure chest boxes way back when he was stranded on the island at the top of a hill, but because he's now stuck in the box, he's unable to see what's in them. And so Luffy and his captain crew come over, and they see this guy, and he asks for the help. And like, please show me the treasure. And then he goes up. Luffy goes up using his stretch powers. He finds out there's no treasure in the boxes, and so like the guy is super sad. But then he realizes that the treasure wasn't the true treasure, but being the guy who lives in the island with the animals was his favorite treasure. Like at the end of the day, it just decides to hang there instead. Apparently, the most interesting and kind of funny thing about this episode was that even though I did find kind of fun, interesting, and very surreal and bizarre, my sister did state that this character is the one character in all of One Piece that never comes back, which I think is really interesting because, like, the whole thing with One Piece is that, characters always come back. If someone's mentioned, they're gonna return way later in the series. Like, you think, that character was a one-off. Oh my gosh, they're back. What? But apparently, this guy in this one episode, that's stuck in the treasure chest, he's the one character in the entire series that has yet to make a reappearance from his original appearance, which I'm not exactly sure what that means. Maybe that's intentional. Maybe like the One Piece was on that island all along, and the whole joke is that like because they just decided to leave and not, bothered further exploring the island, like the true treasure was in there all along, and because the show intentionally avoids bringing that location, that character up again, it kind of ironically brings a lot of attention to that location now because people are like, oh my gosh, my fan theory is One Piece in there, whoa, I think it was an interesting decision that they did that. I'm not exactly sure if it was intentional to the point where like they're playing something super big when they conclude the series or not, if they conclude the series, but interesting nonetheless. But yeah, this episode, what made it so interesting was the fact that it felt like an episode that you could easily just take it out of the entire continuity of the whole series, and you wouldn't really miss much. You wouldn't miss like any more character development. You wouldn't miss any more like new story threads. You wouldn't miss anything. It would just be like it's like a complete filler, which is weird because we watched the One Piece fan edit, which is supposedly the edit that like keeps the series as concise and straightforward as possible without like getting bogged down by a bunch of filler episodes and stuff like that. So the fact that there is this one episode that seemingly is a filler episode is but it's included in the One Piece edit definitely makes you raise an eyebrow, that's for sure. But anyways, moving along. The next episode we watched was the introduction of the chef for the series. He is introduced in a way where like he's really like not taking any of this like guy's nonsense when he's serving him in the restaurant, and like he basically like puts him in his place. And yeah, and then Luffy gets in trouble with the head chef by accidentally breaking his roof, and the head chef wants him to work for free for a whole year, and Luffy doesn't want to do that. So they're like getting into a constant debate back and forth, and then there's like a lot of different things that happen. Like the guy who challenges the chef runs away, and then there's another thief that comes there who demands free food, but then he's immediately beaten and kicked out by like one of the workers there. But then like the guy who put the chef or sorry the patron in his place earlier in the episode comes over to this guy and like gives him a free meal and says, I know what it's like to be what you're like, so you can either hold on to your pride or you can eat the food and live to see another day. Yeah, pretty potent and interesting dialogue there. I really do think that was pretty cool. I liked that. But yeah, we put an end to that episode for now. I thought it was really good. I thought the initial introduction of this new chef character was really compelling, and I'm interested to see where it goes from here. Now, moving along, we eventually, and hold on, just checking to make sure that we are still good. We're still recording. Okay, so moving along from that, we decided to go for a bathroom break, come back, watched an episode of the show Fallout, the next episode. This one was really interesting. This felt like a turning point for the main character of the series, the girl looking for her father, the woman looking for her father, actually. And just seeing that, change happen with that character was really interesting, because I think, like, when she was in the vault, she had this naivety, she had this closed in like view of the world where, oh, golden rule, if you do unto others and you do to yourself, everyone's a-okay, we're getting along together. But really, like, the world can be an extremely cruel, unforgiving, and harsh place that plays by its own rules. But even in the face of that, she still tries to do her best to raise by the values she was raised by her father when she was growing up, which I thought was a pretty good signal for character. But then, yeah, I think the interesting narrative choice they went with this episode was that the character is shown to be like really reserved, really conservative with how they, express themselves throughout the series. Like, they never curse, like, until this episode. And when she does, like, it's like, oh, wow, she cursed for the first time. This basically means that, like, this is a complete and total fundamental shift in how she's approaching this new world that she has been thrust into because of her father being taken from her. And now she's definitely going to face this radical transformation that we weren't expecting before. And I think that's really going to make for a compelling story going forward with this show. And yeah, after that, we do check in with the guy who thought that the raiders who were locked in should be taken out, and he decides to do some research to find out, like, ask these raiders, yo, you guys are just a bunch of jerks. And they say, oh, tell that to Vault 32 or whatever. And then he decides to go check out Vault 32, and he finds out that it's a complete desolate, like, wasteland of a vault where all of the people who dwelled in there are, like, dead or zombie or just plain dead. And he brings his friend along, who gets in this romantic relationship with a pregnant lady whose husband died, and so she decides to get with this guy until her water breaks and she's beginning to give birth, of which the guy decides to go with the little guy who got the message that, like, the Vault 32, there's something off about it, or 33, something like that. I think it was 32 or something. But then they, go into the vault and find out that it's all messed up, and it seems like the people who lived there took each other out. And definitely makes you wonder what the heck happened. And a new thread is revealed where apparently the guy who was doing his research found out that his mother allowed the people who raided their vault to come in and raid them. So that is introducing a new thread to the story that's definitely going to make for compelling reveals later on. So yeah, it's going to be cool. I don't think we got the thread with the guy in the mech suit and his squire in this episode. I think they ignored that part of the story for now, which, because I don't remember that. So it's clear that they wanted to make the fundamental character shift of our main character the primary focus of this episode, as well as the new reveals of what's really going on with the whole vaults and the secrets and everything as well. So those were clearly the big focuses, and I think it's definitely going in a really cool, interesting direction that I'm looking forward to. All right, well, after watching that, eventually, we said goodbye to my middle sister. She left. We told her that we loved her. And then my youngest sister went off for a walk. Me and my mom were just watching some more stuff on, again, checking if the camera is recording. Okay, good. And then me and my mom watched some stuff on the projector before we decided to take it down. One was like a video about potential, astrological news to look out for throughout March of 2026. Basically a blood red moon and a bunch of different star clusters showing up and checking out, like, things through, like, a fancy telescope lens that gives you a really clear picture of, like, what you're trying to find. And that technology looked really impressive. Then we watched the opening of Prince of Egypt, which we thought was really, really good. Incredible movie. Love Prince of Egypt. One of the best. And then we put away the projector with the projector screen, and then my mom said goodnight. I got a Sqeequal. I went into the den. I watched John Lenderman continue to play some Crimson Desert, and just was gawking at the visuals on display. Crimson Desert is probably one of the best looking games of this generation and of all time, in my opinion. It looks that good. It's an incredible achievement of video game art direction design. But anyways, after watching that, I decided to take my vitamin. Oh yeah, and then I noticed there were some leftovers. I asked our family friends if they were hers, if I could have them. They said yes. I heated those up on a pan with oil. I put them in a bowl. I continued to watch the John Lenderman Crimson Desert video. When I was done eating, I decided to turn off. I greeted my sister. I took my vitamins, brushed my teeth, took some mouthwash, listened to a Area 52 and Jesse Michaels collaboration video where they're at, like, a conference with a bunch of other fans of theirs. They're talking about with like a couple who saw both a disc-shaped craft and a triangle-shaped craft on their trip to Las Vegas, and they were able to film some of the disc-shaped craft, but they weren't with the triangle-shaped craft. And they were basically recounting their story. I haven't seen the footage yet, so I can't see whether I think it's believable or not. But overall, it definitely does sound like it fits the bill for a lot of other reports that do happen with these objects. Apparently, the triangle ones are like called TR3Bs and are um, man-made alien reproduction vehicles, um, which helps distinguish them from the round ones, which are the real UFOs. So, yeah, apparently the triangle ship did not make any sound, so I thought that was pretty compelling, and just zoomed off. Makes you think, if we have that kind of technology, why don't we use that for energy infrastructure if we're having trouble with stuff like the Stray-4 Moose right now? Unless it's all part of the plan. Da 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 da. Okay. Well, anywho, after watching that, or listening to that, I told my sister about it. I said goodnight. I turned on the record button here and made this video. So that's pretty much the day overall. I am now going to take my prescribed mouthwash until that thing bottle is empty, and then I'm gonna go sleep. So thank you for watching. Really appreciate you spending the time to hang out, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody, and take care.